Well, good morning, my friends. Welcome back to Crowley House Flower Farm. Today I'm up early before the house wakes, and well, it's pretty quiet out other than the roosters crowing and the birds chirping. It's just a beautiful morning, and as you know, mornings are my favorite, and I think for most gardeners you will find that. So today what I'm going to do is for my job, I am a flower farmer. So I farm here in Oregon, which is zone 8B, which doesn't mean a ton, but I'm in the Willamette Valley. And anyways, I farm flowers for a living, but I grow vegetables, or I used to grow vegetable gardens just, for summer delight, pick a few salad pieces, pick some tomatoes, that kind of thing, just for fresh eating. And when my son got sick several years ago with Crohn's disease, then we really started growing flowers. I grow flowers, but growing vegetables to store our own food and growing our own food here on the farm. So we've been doing that for, I think, 6 years or so. So I'm still new at mass growing, I guess. I was okay with growing just, tomatoes and that kind of thing, but not like production growing where we're going to store it in my cooler over the winter. So I just thought I would take you through some of the things that we're growing this year, and I'm still learning, so I appreciate all the help I can get. I know the two channels that I watch to get most help would be Jill over at Whispering Willow Farms and also Jason at Cog Hill have kind of inspired me to keep going and growing en masse as far as the vegetables go, because veg growing is so different than flower farming. Okay, I'm putting my coffee down because it's getting heavy. Whew. Okay, so I'm out here in the garden and I'm a little late getting my garlic out. I think that's the biggest issue that I have, is because I am farming flowers and it does take up so much time. It's labor intensive that I sometimes forget to get my garden its full attention that it actually needs. So I'm going to show you, I'm harvesting the garlic this morning. I've got elephant garlic, which looks really good. It's huge this year. I don't know how that happened, but I have elephant garlic very largely grown. And then I have some soft neck garlic and some hard neck garlic. And then I was just going to check on the onions and see how they're doing. So this is some elephant garlic that we just planted from seed, and it's just come up. Actually, I'll show you a plot over here. This plot of elephant garlic, you can see I'm way past my prime of harvesting this, but this was just self-seeded from 2 years ago. Now, I'm going to see how it looks when I pull it, and then I'll take you over here. So these are just some peas that we grew. I think it's called, it's called Big Peas by Haas Tools. I got that seed, but it is really put on a show for us. You can still see there's some pods. We've had some warm days. So I'm going to take those out and go from there. So over here, so look at this, you guys. Isn't that fun? Some more elephant garlic here. I have tags on these. I should tell you what they are. These are some onions we grew. I kind of like just those small little onion tops. Some more garlic over there. So these are some onions that I planted by seed, and it's just a white regular onion. We've got a red onion, and then that is a whole bunch of yellow onions, and you can still see that their tops are nice and green. They haven't started to fall over. So they're just starting to put on their little seed heads, and actually we sell these little seed heads in market bouquets. People love them, so we pull those off and sell them. Okay, so here we have one of our beds of potatoes, and we grew 2 different varieties here. So we grew 2 different varieties of potatoes, and we have several patches of these. I planted them in succession, but we have a German butter potato, and we got both of these at Haas Tools, and a Norman red potato, which both of those I love to eat in salads, and they store pretty well. So I'll be, the second one that I planted down at our other little patch is probably 2 weeks off. It just started flowering before it starts to do its dieback. We had pulled one patch, not quite this big, probably a couple weeks ago. So I guess I'm harvesting them every 2 weeks or so. Here in the Pacific Northwest, you can actually leave the potatoes in the ground and then just kind of pull them up as you need them through winter, which is really cool. We've done that for years instead of having them in a cold storage, because it does, we do freeze here and that kind of thing, but it's actually, it works out pretty well. So I'm going to show you these potatoes, so you can see that the butterball have actually started to die back a lot. They're going to be ready to pull. And then this Normand is just slightly behind, but it was gorgeous here not too long ago. So this bed here, we have a ton of fennel. This bed is asparagus, and we've got I think 4 different varieties of asparagus in here. And so what I did was just pop through some peppers, which are not doing super great. I got them in late, I admit. I have some more peppers that I'm gonna in the greenhouse, so I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, these are fennel, and we just love to eat that fresh for salads. And we have a big event here on the farm. Oh, you guys, my sad basil. Very sad. It is time for me to revamp the garden. I'm going to go ahead and put in some manure. We have some cow manure, just very well aged, that I'm going to put in some more compost, and just get the beds ready for planting a second round so that we can have vegetables in the winter. I'm really bad about this, and I'm really trying super hard to get stuff in the ground. I'd love to grow Brussels sprouts, and I'll link that video here that I talk about like the different things we're growing. All the pumpkins, squash, that kind of thing, that's out another field. So that's out our big field. But here we've done a few as well, just for fresh eating. And then the more storage ones are grown off farm. So anyways, I do have, oh, this is kind of fun. I do have some beans coming on. This is my first succession of beans. They need some water, but this is Garden Wax Beans by Haas. And then I also have a variety down here. The tag is, yeah, that's still just the wax bean. And this is a jade bush bean, but they're all setting flower. Maybe I do know how to garden. We love collard greens, and we eat those almost every morning with eggs. And then sometimes in the evening with barbecue or something like that, we just saute them up. One of my kids' favorites, and it's just a simple way to keep the greens growing and going. But some of them are starting to set seed. I kind of want to do a thing where like let a couple set seed and then take the seed, plant it again. I don't know. I love saving seed. It's kind of fun. I do it on flowers all the time. Veg, I've never done. So, okay. So basically my job list today is to start by getting the garlic out, getting it into the shop. It's nice and cool now. That's one thing about garlic, is you definitely want to make sure that that it's not harvested when it's super hot. It's best to harvest on a cloudy day. Right now the sun hasn't even peeked over the hills. You can see here. Okay. The sun hasn't even peeked over the hills yet, and so I'm just trying to get as much of the harvest I can get done that will just kind of protect it from beating sun and me being too hot. So I'm going to go ahead and start with that and then get it straight into my studio, get it hung. I think the other ideal thing for garlic is that you want to definitely harvest it and then get it into a dry, cool place. A lot of times we put fans on it to dry it and cure it so that we can have long-term storage. You know, this garlic, this elephant garlic, it's very mild. It's huge cloves. It lasts forever. I actually prefer it over some of the stronger garlics, just depending on the meal. And it's super, super good for you, especially when you have gut issues. I'm gonna go get a little shovel and try and loosen some of the soil. My husband was supposed to meet me out here and he didn't. He slept in. Oh, this is the other thing I wanted to show you, some fava beans. I have never grown fava beans before, so I'm not really sure what I'm doing, but these look not super great, and I think maybe that's past its prime. I don't know. I know nothing about them. My daughter grew them actually, but they're not the prettiest. I'll have her take a peek at them. Some of the plants look really healthy. I'm not sure what this black is. Maybe someone can tell me. Don't know. I gotta get to work. The sun is just now peeking over. So here we go. So anytime I go and find tools, they're never where they're supposed to be. And I don't know if you have that problem, but I'm thinking that we need to have a tool roundup because that is my worst. I love having the tools put back where they belong. It never happens. Okay, so I went and got just a little hand trowel and then this thing. Yep, that's what I got. And I'm just gonna loosen the soil, see how they look. So one thing on garlic, you want the leaves, especially the lower leaves, to start dying back, and then the rest of the leaf to be kind of green. You can tell I'm a little past prime because they're all dying. So what that does for the garlic is basically indicating that that outer skin is starting to harden and it's ready to pull. And so you want to basically get it to the point where there's just a little bit dying and then the rest of it is kind of green. Obviously I'm a little past prime, but it's okay. I'm gonna pull it anyways and see how it looks. I think with elephant garlic, once you have it, you know, once you plant it, you will always have it. They send off these little babies. They send off these little babies, which is kind of fun. But anyways, that's pretty massive. Look at this one. I'm not sure if it changes the flavor. Maybe someone can tell me. But that's huge. Like, this is my hand. Okay, let me see if I can. Yeah. That's my hand. That's my garlic. It's absolutely ginormous. That would not fit into like a press. So I don't think they're supposed to get that big, but maybe they are. I don't know. It's kind of cool. I mean, it's always fun to grow big things, but I think in the garlic family, you kind of want them a little bit smaller because it wouldn't fit in that press. But I think So what I could do is, a lot of times we grow a lot of basil for the cut flower production, but we also grow a lot of basil, and it's we can use it for like pesto and that kind of thing. So I'm thinking that I can probably just take some of these really large heads and make some pesto with it, or just chop it up really fine to have fresh garlic later in jars. I don't know. If you have a suggestion, please let me know below. Obviously, I'm not the expert in storing a whole bunch of vegetables. So anyways, back to getting these out of the ground. So unfortunately, we've had a whole heck of a lot of rain this year, and so these are still really wet. So technically, you should wait a week, if not several days, to let the soil dry out, because it's really hard to pull. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and leave that on, and then as it dries out today, I'll knock off the soil so I don't disturb those roots. I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but that's what I'm just gonna do, because this is what the weather, you know, farming is so funny because you just kind of have to roll with the punches, and we've just been really, really wet this year. We're still trying to get our stuff that we normally would plant back in May into the ground. We'll be fine, but you know, it is what it is. And I think everybody's kind of struggling with that this year. Just kind of like, I mean, and I guess that's the joy of gardening, is that you just basically have to like throw your hands up sometimes and figure out things, and that makes you a better gardener. It's a classroom. Even when you think you know everything, you don't. So I'm on to the other variety of garlic, and I'll try and find the name of it. We got it from a local, very well reputable company out of Washington. And this is the first year I've grown this garlic, so I'm going to save some of the cloves for replanting next year. So this looks pretty good. I'm excited. Yeah. So I'm going to harvest it. We've got two different varieties, plus we got the shallots from them. The shallots I think I did wrong, but we'll see. We'll see how they turn out. I don't know. My husband loves cooking, so I grew them for him. I don't mind cooking either, but okay, so here is our other variety. I'm going to see how it looks. So the first bulb I pulled up wasn't great. It was kind of planted tilted a little bit. So you can tell it's kind of got some separation and then this extra little thing. So this one might be the one that I keep for just adding onto our collection of garlics, because you definitely don't want that little split like this here, just kind of split apart. That means I'm a little bit late to harvest this. It just won't store as long. It doesn't mean that I have to throw it away. Or I can take this and maybe use it as a starter. But the next one I pulled wasn't too bad. This one looks kind of, look at that little baby, isn't that sweet? That one looks pretty good. It's a little bit small, so we'll keep going here and see. You just basically want to lift the soil gently around. I wish my soil was like Monty Don's, just butter, but it's not. We're still working on it. You know, it takes a while to get some good soil. Just gently kind of lifting. So So I want to keep some of those roots on. This one looks a lot better, even though it still is a little crookedy. Is crookedy a word? But look at that head on that. That's a nice one. I'm happy with that. Oh, you know what happened? Oh my gosh, I totally forgot. My husband planted these. So we plant them 8 to 9 months prior. So this was in the fall last year. And he planted them wrong. I totally forgot that. So this is why they're crooked. They still grew. Honey, you did a good job. Okay, so... oh, the poor guy. I love him. So this one had like 3 cloves on it at one time. Anyways, definitely planted wrong, but it's okay. You know, you can eat those fresh. They'll be delicious. And then next year we should have a good crop. And I think what happened, he planted them upside down. Because I was teaching a class and he was trying to be helpful. I can't be mad at him at all. But anyways, that's what happened. They look still really, really good. So we'll see. So this is my last variety I just pulled out. And it looks, I mean, there's some there's some inconsistencies of sizes, but I'm happy with that, even though it was planted sideways. Next year we'll plant it correctly. I'm definitely gonna wait for the soil to dry before we get that off. I just don't want to disturb it too much. I want to keep that nice. We'll see. I do like this little fork for digging things like this. We use it mainly for dahlias, but for these bulbs I can get down enough just because the soil isn't so loose and be able to pull that out without breaking that neck. Because you want to pull it by the bulb and not the little stem here, because that stem will fall off, and that definitely shortens the life of the bulb, I hear. It's not a bad size. This is a different variety. Again, I'll let you know what this is. Yeah, but we're really inconsistent on sizes. I'm not sure why that is. All right, so I've finished harvesting all the garlic and I'm gonna go take it into the studio and get it drying. I'm not sure exactly how I'm gonna dry it all. Last year I just laid it out. It's really important that, like I said, the dry, cool, no direct sunlight, get some fans on it. We have that little back room where we have all the freezers and that kind of thing that gets some good airflow. I'll probably stick it in there. I'm not sure. We dry a lot of flowers, so, I mean, what's the difference, right? We'll see. Okay, and I'm really hungry, so I'm gonna go in and get something to eat as well. And then I'm gonna come back and pull out all this lettuce back here that's going to seed. And then I am going to take you up to the front garden and show you that, how that's coming. Progression. Ooh, you guys, look at this. So we have here some blueberry. This is my blueberry patch. just right off the garden. They're starting to blush. We cut a lot of blueberry for cut foliage and flowers, so that makes for great bouquet filler almost year round. During the summer months when you have a lot of foliage, other foliages available, and the blueberries are gone, you can still use the foliage if it's your own farm. But when you're mass producing and a machine runs over it, it doesn't look very good. But look at this. This is a thornless blackberry that we grow here on the farm. Beautiful. So we would cut it at this stage. We'd also, it starts to blush a little bit. It's incredible, but I'll be making some jam with this as well. Of course, everything is organic, so we'll see how it goes. But I mean, that is great bouquet filler as well. So this is called a whip here, this tall guy. They'll grow really, really tall. They don't have any fruit on them. We use those for tall arrangements. Okay, so I wanted to take you up really quick to the front over by my kitchen. So I have some potatoes and beans, some tomatillos, a couple more succession plantings of potatoes, and then I have leeks, courgettes, and the warrior onion, which is from Haas, I believe. Anyways, so these are I wanted to show you the two potatoes because they look great in this bed. This is what the other bed looked like just a short while ago. So this one here is the Norman's Red, and then this is the German butter potato here. And they're both great storage potatoes. And then I've got our tomatillos over here, and look at, they're getting little flowers on them. My farm workers just showed up, so I'm gonna have to get going. And then I've got some tomatoes, which actually are looking really good. I need to trellis these today, so I'm gonna get that going and weed this patch a little bit. You can see the weeds are starting to come. We've just had so much rain, it's hard to keep on top of it. But get in here, weed through the onions. We planted them super close together. These are leeks. I love, 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 love leek soup. So leeks are here, and then we've got more onions in the very, very back right there. And then these are just some courgettes. I do want to try where you stuff the flowers. I think that would be, stuff the flowers. I think that would be just delicious. Oh, look, you guys. Little tiny babies. Little babies. This is a yellow summer squash. And then this is your traditional green zucchini squash. I love them little tiny like that. Beautiful for eating fresh in a salad or sauteing up, frying. I got to get my farm workers going, and I will be back to you guys shortly. Hey, Emily. Well, thank you so much for tagging along with me this morning as I harvested my garlic. Even though they were upside down, they still turned out. And you know how I knew that? Is because for some reason that garlic that my husband planted, which I love him dearly for doing that, the garlic didn't come up for a long time, and I thought, what the heck is going on? So I kind of dug down on one of them and I saw what was going on. It was like going like this up under the soil. So what I want to say about that is that even though you don't know a lot about gardening and you may do something wrong, that in the end, generally, nature will correct itself. We find that a lot with different flowers that we grow. Sometimes you plant it wrong or you didn't know, and it happens to all of us as we're learning on this journey, and you just keep going. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up, a like, ring the bell. I guess I'm supposed to say that. I don't know. I think that's weird. But if you would like to, that's just so you can be notified that we have another video up, and we try and get one up a week. Our next video is going to be kind of fun. I'm going to be harvesting our elderberries, or elderberry flower, and making some different liqueurs with them. And Braden's going to help me. So that's going to be kind of fun. I'm excited to do that little project with him. Until then, thanks so much, and much success in all you do and grow, and we'll be seeing you shortly here again at Crowley House in the garden. Bye-bye.